How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Pan Geekery Podcast, a weekly live video podcast celebrating all things geek from an all-diverse perspective. And what we do is talk about TV, film, video games, and all the things covering all the nooks and crannies of fandom. My name is Earl Balon. I am an actor improviser based in Los Angeles, California. And I forgot what to say, but I've been watching a lot of Warrior. The martial arts I've studied are Kenpo Karate and Filipino martial arts.
Amazing. That's a really good question. Hi, I'm Jennifer Zhang. You can just call me Jen or Jen Zaney, and I am an actor, writer, gamer, and artist from Los Angeles, California. And the only martial arts I've studied is Krav Maga for 2 classes, as well as, standard street fighting from fighting high school boys.
Right.
My name's Andy Lowe. I'm the Chinese pirate on all platforms. I am a director, producer, fight choreographer, performer, puppeteer, and a lot of other things. We're talking about martial arts we've done.
Yeah. Or
okay.
Studying, yeah. You have a few.
I had a few. I did Tang Soo Do, Korean Tang Soo Do for a number of years. Also did a little bit of Filipino arnis de mano, as well as kind of a broad range of Northern Shaolin Kung Fu for many years.
Nice.
And some fencing and some wrestling and stuff, too.
Just sprinkle it.
Sprinkling things here and there. And as you can see, we do have a guest host for today. What's up? Let me give a warm welcome to the hot nerd girl herself, Miss Tracy Deering. What's up?
Yeah.
Hi. Yes, I'm Tracy, the hot nerd girl, and I am a blogger, writer, occasional quasi cosplayer, and the only martial arts I know are stage combat and movie kung fu.
Yes!
Nice.
So great to have you, Tracy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Welcome to the virtual table.
So Tracy, really quickly, is with me over on the Pod Squadron. We are the Geekish Network show on Saturday night, and so you can find us there regularly, and she joins us here tonight.
Nice. Awesome. So really quick before we move on, I just want to give a shout out to Digital Click, our branding and digital marketing party, our partners. What's up? Thank you for the cool logos and stuff. And everybody feel free to hit us up here in the chat or on our Discord later and interact with us, because we're going to say what's up. We always saying like saying what's up to everybody. Really quick, everybody, what's up to Cameron in the chat, Ang Fernal, Aaron Nabis, and Scuba Steve. How are y'all doing today? We got a lot going on. We are talking about His Dark Materials today. We're talking about WandaVision, the big episode 5 and 6. And we are talking a little bit about a PC giveaway contest that we're doing really quick. We're not going to give you all the details, but we're going to tease what we're giving away. And also, we're going to talk a little bit about geek news. So, let's see here. We're going to talk, first of all, we're going to start with Tracy. So tell us a little bit about Hot Nerd Girl. What is that?
Oh, goodness. I'm coming up on 10 years of doing Hot Nerd Girl, which is crazy to think about. Wow. I was obviously like 12 when I started it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally. No, it started out as a joke, actually, because I was writing another blog and that kind of ran its course and I needed something else to write about. And at that time, you really could only email people things. And so I would be
sharing. What is that?
Yeah, I would be constantly trolling the internet, and every single Star Trek article I would find, I would email to everybody on my email list. And this would go on. I mean, this was for years, from college on. And so when I threw it out there to the universe and social media that I needed something else to write about, my friend Darcy from college was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to start a blog. You're going to call it Hot Nerd Girl because you're bombarding us with your nerdy shit. And I said, that's the worst name ever. I'm never going to call it that. And he said, yes, you are. And so I am still a little embarrassed by the name, but it's cool. 10 years, I can deal with it now. And I even got it trademarked and the whole bit. So
nice.
Now you got to own it.
It is yours.
It is yours.
No, that's awesome that you sat on it early. So, I mean, nobody else can take it from you now.
Well, no, that's why I usually go by HNG, which in a lot of comic books, you see that hing sound.
I when someone
Heart
gets
attack
punched, like,
it's like, right. The general sound of air exhaling.
Exactly.
Exertion.
Exactly.
Exertion.
exclamation, exhaust.
So you ended up here on not ended up sounds so bad. You
Ended
hooked
up
with Pod
Me
Squadron
with the losers over here.
Did.
Nice.
I was on a podcast called Pod Thingy for a couple of for a season a few years ago, but we
Right.
unfortunately one of our hosts passed away, so we kind of stopped after that.
Oh my
I hope
God,
I didn't
sorry.
just jinx you guys. I'm just kidding.
No.
It'll be me first.
Oh no. But he's still like, I mean, we still post about him. He was a very special person. But yeah, and I had an HNG podcast, and I've known Andy since the Dr. Horrible
God.
sing-along blog
It's been
days.
almost God. Okay, that was 2011 when I did that.
Shut up! No, it was
So
not.
it's
You're
been
lying.
almost 10 years now since we met.
How
'cause
dare you
you
talk
were-
about a podcast
God.
existing back then? Just kidding.
Yeah.
I think you were one of the first people who emailed me asking if I would review your like something as like a press.
Hi,
something.
you're a hot nerd girl. Will you cover us? We're doing this fan presentation of Dr. Horrible sing-along blog. Will you come?
And I was like, oh my God, you guys, somebody thinks that I'm press and wants me to review something. This is amazing.
I feel special. That is a cool thing, though. When somebody gives you the first thing to review, you feel like, oh, my opinion matters. What's going on here?
Nice.
Really quick into the chat, Scuba Steve says Tracy sent me a Thor pic in 2013.
I'm wearing a Thor
Nice.
shirt.
Nice. Look at the serendipity.
Wow.
Awesome,
Kismet.
awesome. Well, without further ado, let's step into our first subject, which is His Dark Materials, Season 2, Episodes 5 through 7. So, how does everybody feel so far about it?
I feel exuberant. Actually, if I may butt in, I mean, you know, production got cut short for season 2 due to COVID, right? So
Right.
they actually had to wrap up some things much earlier than they intended to. And there was supposed to be one more episode, but then they kind of cut everything short and then finished it by episode 7. So I was going in fully prepared for it to end abruptly, but I was
Right.
pleasantly surprised that a lot of the things that they a lot of the things that they intended on delivering were still present. You know, I was really happy by that. Anyway.
Did we want to? Yeah, I agree that because I know Caitlin gave us a little warning that there was some kind of curtailing of the season, but I think I only felt it because I knew it was there.
Right.
See, that's the thing. I watched through it not knowing any of that information or knowing that there was a cut short. So I
Right.
didn't know. So this was all a surprise to me when you guys told me that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. So
Does somebody want to go give a quick breakdown of what happened in 5 through 7?
Well,
go ahead, Andy.
oh gosh, it's been a little while for me. So the last episode we saw, Will just got the knife and discovered
Right.
that he has a knife that can cut through dimensions. In this episode, Miss Coulter is courted by what's the character's name again?
Boreal?
Lord
Lord
L'Oreal. L'Oreal.
Yeah.
Boreal.
Charles Ladnam.
Like Borealis.
Like Borealis, and
Carlos
brings
Ladnam.
her into this other new dimension, the Italy dimension, basically.
Little Italy, we'll call
the
it that.
Little Italy dimension.
The island.
Yeah.
And once she's there, they encounter the specters, and she discovers that she can control the specters. She can speak to them somehow. There's some interesting stuff that happens with the monkey. Her golden monkey,
Her demon.
she gets straight up abusive to the monkey, which is
Really sad.
that whole. Well, it's sad, but it's also it's it's already been a weird relationship
Yeah.
with her and this monkey that doesn't talk already.
It's like an abusive self relationship.
Yeah,
Right?
It's really
right.
weird.
I still don't know what to make out of it.
And it's almost the puzzle pieces are starting to fall into place where we know that she has some kind of control over her dust, right? Over dust or the way it affects her, because we know that demons are affected by dust at some point, because we know that when somebody hits puberty or becomes adult, their demon settles, and then so we can only just we can infer that has to do with the presence of dust. And because she has some kind of control over it, she has some control over the specters, because the specters also have to do with dust.
Right.
Tracy, I've been told that you have just read the books. So
I haven't watched the series yet, but you're not
I really
spoiling
hope
anything.
you will.
Yeah,
I really hope you will.
It's been on
really
my
love it.
list. This is going to be an impetus to watching it.
Has the story been concluded in the books? Because I'm not like super knowledgeable about them.
It's a. I mean,
is it an ongoing thing?
The one that I have, I think it's a few parts. It's this thick.
Okay, got it. So it's like a few volumes.
Yeah.
Okay, so after we find out that the specters, or Miss Coulter has some control over the specters, things just kind of start happening really fast.
So let's
Really
hear.
quickly.
Will and Lyra are with the witches, and they're going off. They're trying to get to. Oh no!
They get the alethiometer back.
He has to get the alethiometer back, so that's before the witches. And so he uses the knife to jump back in, thinking they can trick Lord
Carlos Latinum, or Lord Boreal.
Yes, but of course there's a double cross. They come face to face with
Mrs. Coulter.
Mrs. Coulter, and there's drama, and they manage to escape, but they're chased back into town.
Yeah. And there's a convergence, right? So every single person has been trying to locate every other person in this story up until now. Right.
And
So we have we have Mrs. Coulter looking for Lyra. We have Lord Boreal searching for Will and his knife, and then we have the witches who are also leading Lyra. We have Joffrey, who is at Andrew Scott's character, trying to look for his son. We have
with Scoresby, with Lee Scoresby.
Lee Scoresby, who is also trying to look for Lyra.
From the country of Texas. I still love that.
From the country of Texas.
I'm going to talk about that every time.
And
Yorick.
we also have the scientist, Dr. Malone.
Yeah.
Dr. Malone is also looking for Lyra and for the, presence of dust. So everything converges on Little Italy now.
Right.
We're just going to call it that.
And Lee Scoresby, that's right. He's going on his own journey and travels. He gets captured. He was released last time. So he's now... He accidentally killed the scientist. He
accidentally killed the scientist?
Didn't he actually because he's off in search of. Oh no, that happened before. Sorry, I'm getting things confused.
Which scientist are you talking about?
When he killed the guy in the telescope place.
Oh,
I'm a few episodes behind.
You're a few episodes, but you're talking about when Will accidentally threw somebody off the stairs in his house.
No, I'm talking about Lee.
Oh, when Lee.
Oh, the scientist, right?
The scientist,
the scientist opens fire on him because he's like, "Oh, you're a heretic," and then opens fire because he's looking for a lead to find Lyra.
Right. So I'm wrong. So so he hooks up with Will's father, and they're just floating along.
Yeah.
Right.
Through the skies, being chased by air balloons.
I have a major question. That being about Joffrey and Lee Scoresby. So, what was the point of their character arc, right? Because they were, I'm not saying that they don't have strong enough motivations, but it feels a little bit anticlimactic for me that they arrive and they barely get to Will and convince him hey, I'm your dad, by the way, but also good job, also keep going, and then he dies.
Both of them.
Yeah, both of them. I guess Will gets to see his dad for a second, but Scoresby dies in a jungle firefight, which is so sad.
But it's super sad because you almost sit there and you wonder again, what is his purpose in this story? Was he here just to bring Joffrey to see his son and die? Otherwise,
that was a little bit empty. Yeah,
right.
It felt like
really,
it was building up.
I see you squirming, Tracy. Do you have some insight?
Yeah, do you have?
I'm so terrified of giving away spoilers that I'm just. You guys go, and I'm just
But do you recognize where in the books this is? Do you remember
I'm following along with you guys, but I don't remember specifically where.
Got it.
So I'm terrified that I'm going to be like, I remember. Oh shoot!
I appreciate that so
we'll
much.
see them later. Remember?
So we saw them both die.
Right.
Yeah.
Join in on the WandaVision.
The thing is, like, sorry, go ahead, Andy. Finish your thought.
Well, no, I just like wondering, like, if you have any answers for us to that in terms of
Sure.
their role or.
The only thing that I can really offer is that it would be unlikely that the Magisterium would not follow, given that they found out where a Coulter was. So maybe their purpose in that moment was just to fight off the Magisterium. Otherwise, the full-out war would have escalated then and there. However, that seems like a very, like, MacGuffin-y conflict to have. You know what I mean? So, I was disappointed by them leaving so quickly.
Yeah.
I almost want to like chalk it up to it being like part of the curtailed season. Like we didn't see any build up. I think maybe that's what felt missing. That we saw things happen without like reason, really. And
Exactly.
I think that I'm gonna chalk it up to that. Because otherwise, like you're correct. Like the entire Lee Scoresby arc feels like
Yeah.
Like, what was he there for?
yeah. Why were you here? Because you didn't provide any meaningful like insight into the quest or like like maybe in the first season.
Well,
but,
I think what we do get to see from both of them, though, right, is that they are both committed to their kids. They are both kind of victims of fate, right?
Sure.
You know, like even you know, he kind of talks about how just nuts it is that it turns out to be his son is the knife bearer, and that this has brought them back together. I thought that was kind of interesting and fascinating, particularly where when you get to the cliffhanger, which
What is the cliffhanger, Andy?
Well, that it turns out that Professor X is going to war with essentially what does he call him?
You mean James McAvoy, Lord Asriel.
Lord Asriel, right?
Lord Asriel is going to war with, what does he call him? He calls
God, the Authority.
Well, yeah,
the Authority.
Okay, the Authority, right? But
Yes.
But with
essentially
the angels
God.
on his side, it seems.
the
With angels on his side. Woo! I'm getting
which
chills.
Which is weird.
Weird and
That's
fascinating.
so good.
Right,
Because
you're
like,
trying-
yeah.
No, go ahead.
We got insight into what the angels' motivation are from Dr. Malone reading,
Right.
being able to
Vengeance.
communicate. Yes.
Oh, we forgot. Dr. Malone is also in Italy.
Little Italy.
For some reason, the specters don't attack her.
Right.
They don't. Well, if you notice, there was this holographic kind of like imprint on the back that was floating above her head. It's
Right.
like almost
Oh, I
like the
didn't see
angels smiled upon her, and she's protected under the angels.
The angels
power.
did say that she was protected.
She was
Because she's
protected.
holding I Ching skid
Right.
sticks. Because
Well, she is like, her role is to play the serpent, and we have just found out that Will and Lyra are Adam and Eve.
Eve, yeah.
Yeah. So it's really interesting that you bring up fate, Andy, because like this entire world, or at least Lyra's world, seems to be combating the idea that fate is predetermined, that the predestination is a certain given, you know? It seems like angels themselves also want to avert a certain fate. There was free will that was brought up. They're saying that the destruction
Free
of the authority... Yeah. Free will.
Wait a
Free
second.
will.
There's a connection here somewhere.
Gong.
Gong.
But yeah, it seems like their task is to end destiny, to bring about a new fall, so to speak. But like, it seems as if mankind is destined for more knowledge, right? To eat from the Garden of Eden once more.
It's also interesting to just kind of see all of this kind of, you know, pseudo-biblical reference
Everything
being
is
applied,
very much so, right?
applied in almost a very Greek, you know, humanity versus the gods versus fate versus, you know, your.
It feels
you
like
know,
the Titans, right?
Yeah, I mean, there is very much a classic Greek tragedy. I must choose, but I cannot choose well. I cannot deflect my fate. Right?
I think it feels like that because like the gods it seemed to have direct hand in like human lives. Which was
Tracy's
kind of the
just
case in the
smirking
Old Testament, right? I mean, like Old Testament God and angels like regularly made appearances in the lives of humanity.
Yeah.
It's true.
Not so much in you know
New
now.
Testament.
New Testament. So
I I will say it's really also fascinating that Jopari has essentially, they call him a shaman or shaman, right? But
Right.
he's essentially developed like witch-like powers, and the witches are kind of like the druids of this world. They seem to be, they seem to be kind of like nymph-like, right? Like they come from nature, and
Right.
yet mankind with its technology and greed and like industrialization seek to destroy that, And now like the witches have also joined the fray. They're planning on waging war against the Magisterium. Also, have you noticed in the credits that Jopari's demon, Jopari's played by Andrew Scott in Fleabag, and
Moriarty.
his demon is played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
It's Phoebe Waller-Bridge? No way. That's great. I had no idea.
She only says one line though. Like when he's about to be killed, she goes like, Jopari! And that's it.
Because we don't see his demon. Like, it wasn't, because he even said something about not having a demon at some point. And
but then he got one.
Right. It's kind of interesting. Where did that come from?
So
He
Tracy,
separated right.
So Tracy, just based on what we've been talking about and what you've heard us and kind of where we are in the story, are we on the right track, or are there things that you
Is it very
remember that were like that's kind of stood out to you? That things that thematically.
Things get so weird.
Good to know.
Yeah, there's
wait.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where in the book certain things happen, and it's trippy. But I'm really enjoying listening to your conversation because it's been a few years since I've read the book, so you guys are sparking all these memories in my my noggin.
I just have to say the number one reason to watch the show is Ruth Wilson as Mrs.
She is
Coulter.
so good. She's fascinating.
Bone-chillingly incredible.
Did you watch the Nicole Kidman version?
No, I didn't.
I did not.
I'm just
I
wondering how
watched
she compares to Nicole Kidman.
Well,
Did you see the?
Yeah.
I did when it came out. It's the only movie I've ever been to where I went by myself.
Oh, really? Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did you think about that one?
It was okay. I mean, they had to cut so much out that it was one of those where I think it would have been better if it had been like 3 movies. But
I remember. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, because I'm going to talk about bears.
No worries. Bears.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, in discussions I've had with Caitlin, who is not present today, she has said, because she watched the movie, that the movie, because it was Disneyified, they cut out a lot of like the anti-religious elements to it, which is like a strong factor in the books, right? That Magisterium is like this religious authority. And so she felt that it was a little watered down. But she felt that HBO was really stronger in making some darker choices that are truer to the themes of the book.
Oh, that's good to know. That makes me more excited to see it. It's kind of like C.S. Lewis, where there's religious undertones, but it's not so in your face, unless you want it to be in your face, right? And then you're going to interpret it how you want.
Just paint it on my face. Just
I would
paint
say
my
is
face.
even more overt with the religious, like the overtones.
Absolutely.
It's not in your face, but it's inescapable.
Yeah.
I would say in the TV show.
And I heard you say bears, so you've already seen bears. Okay.
Okay, because
seen
last
bears.
week we were talking about like the CG in the bears in the bear fight between Yorick and Yofer in the TV show and in the movie, and we're comparing those two, and I was like, so I went back and I watched them, and I don't know, I very much prefer the TV show bear fight.
Oh, okay.
It actually looks much better. It looks so much better. The TV one, I mean the movie one, ends way more brutal, but it's
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In the TV show?
Yeah, well, like there's less blood and it's less visceral, but like the way it ends, like in the movie, Yorick like knocks off Yofer's bottom jaw.
Yeah.
It just goes,
Oh my
and it
gosh.
flies off.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and then
Alright.
he bites like the exposed trachea. And
Oh, jeez. All right.
I know.
I'm pretty
there's
sure
no blood.
that's in the book as well.
That's in the book as well. So
Yeah,
it's from
if I
the book.
remember.
Holy shit.
In the TV show, it happens off camera, but you just hear the crunching and like all that stuff. But I think it's like, I don't know, it felt a little more effective.
It felt more well because you got to spend more time with the bears, right? And you got
Right.
to learn like the history of Yorick a little bit more.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. God. I love
don't know.
this story though. I mean, I know that it has certain flaws, but there's such a fascination about it. The score is also amazing. The music gives me chills.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a great show. I'm definitely looking forward. I hope that it goes a third season, and
hope so,
but
too.
we'll see.
I think they do plan. I think they do plan on it. It just is a matter of logistics now.
In the interim, I'm definitely thinking about picking the books up at some point. Hopefully, it's at the library. So
yeah.
See.
It's filmed in the UK, yes, or
I believe so. I don't know where the island, Little Italy, is.
Right.
Not sure entirely.
Oh, we can look that up. It's probably even the UK's on lockdown right now too. So
Yeah.
But,
everything films in New Zealand and Georgia now.
Film in New Zealand.
It's in a little village. It looks like a Darth Vader head. The villagers are pissed.
They're just gonna take existing footage. They're gonna
They're
do
speaking
it like
Filipino.
Power Rangers style, just take existing footage and like craft the story around it. Yeah, I don't know. It seems pretty cool. I'm definitely gonna pick it back up when it happens again. So,
I know. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope they continue and get to actually spend more time with it this time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so let's move on to our next topic. Oh, we're actually the Dark Materials series. So we're getting stuff in. I'm getting stuff in my virtual ear.
Dun, 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 dun.
Where's it set? Okay, there's a lot. I'm not going to go through that.
Where's it filmed? Where's it set?
Anyway, while we're going through that, I'm going to talk about our next section. What's going on is I teased that we're doing a PC giveaway, and that we're doing a PC giveaway, and the details are still being ironed out, but this is the PC here that I have in front of me. So, if you can see, there's that Pangeekery logo.
Looks like a Godiva box.
It's a little PC, but it packs a lot of power. Inside here, we have a Ryzen 5 3600X and a 2060 RTX Super. So you're going to get a lot of good gaming out of this, 16 gigs of memory, and a NVMe 1 terabyte hard drive. This is courtesy of Jeremy Germ, who also builds my PCs. And I mean, if you're looking for a custom workstation or a gaming PC that will save you, won't break the bank, you can hit him up on IG or Twitch at JeremyGerm33. He is in the LA area. You set the budget, he will work around it, and give it a little bit of a personal touch, like this Pangeekery logo on ours.
Hell yeah.
Question: Can guest hosts win it? I'm asking for a friend.
I don't know. That's all up to the producers. So, I know I saw this and I was like, "Come on, man! Look at this thing." Can I?
Yeah, so good. It almost looks like the Johnny Walker Black Label.
It does. It does.
does.
I'm getting those feelings. It makes me want to game and drink.
Yeah, I've got my whiskey here. Anyway.
Look at that.
A little Suntory.
Yeah.
Every time is Suntory time. Well,
I just have a heart attack because it's filmed at the Bad Wolf Studios, which is
the Doctor Who.
right? Yeah,
Right,
in
the Doctor Who
Cardiff.
Studios.
So-
It's really in Cardiff. Right?
Wow.
That's what the article says. I couldn't let that go.
No, that's fair.
I'm glad.
I would have called it out too. You said Bad Wolf, and I was like, "Oh, Doctor Who."
And Doctor Who is actually
voice,
going to
I
have
don't
some
know
important news coming up because it's going to be the last season for Jodie Whittaker.
It's the Troughton rule, right? 3 years and out.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, well, hopefully she gets some better stories this time around. I'm not saying the stories are bad. I just wish they were better.
I feel you.
I am not a follower of Doctor Who, but I believe you all.
Right. She's great as a doctor.
Yeah, no, she is.
The stories are like, yeah. Anyway, let's move on to some
new writers.
Yeah, new producers. Chris Chibnall, he was on Broadchurch, so I think he's going to do great. It's just finding your footing, new showrunners and all that. WandaVision is our next subject. So
WandaVision.
we only have 2 episodes to talk about here, 5
That's
and
right.
6.
But
So we can go
much
deep.
packed.
So we can go
so
deep into it now.
Much has happened.
Okay.
Tracy, you've seen this, right? You've seen 5 and 6?
Oh
You're
yeah,
caught
and the
Okay.
last 2 episodes have been so good. So
up?
yeah.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
All right. So who wants to recap the final 2 episodes? The 80s and 90s episodes.
Right.
I guess I can
Go ahead.
take a shot. Okay, so
Take a
episode
shot.
5 was our 80s episode. You see a lot of homages to kind of family ties. They even go through and do the whole opening credits with the whole sketch. If you're old and like me and you remember Family Ties, and they have like all the sketch art that turns into them.
Right.
We're also watching the kids. Yeah. Without laws. You also see the kids. Tommy and I just know them as Wiccan and
Billy.
Speed.
Tommy and other Tommy.
Tommy and Billy.
Oh, Billy.
Tommy and Billy.
Billy.
Yeah. Tommy and Billy are continuing to grow at an exponential rate, almost
And they
at
have
will.
some exactly. They have some power to change over their age.
Right. Agnes is still involved, and Agnes is very interested in the kids, and we even see a moment where things get more and more weird as it seems like more people are getting self-aware of the TV reality that everyone is in. Vision is becoming more determined to try and understand what's going on, why he doesn't have memories, and Wanda is still kind of in denial and holding things together. We have a new commercial this week, which is Lagos paper towels, which is a callback to the
Brawny
inciting event of the Captain America Civil War, because Lagos was the place where the accident that Wanda accidentally kills a number of people by diverting an explosion away from a crowd and just diverts it into a different crowd. And then it ends with some really crazy stuff as Vision basically just goes crazy and just like, look, things are not right. Things are screwed up. We can't do this. Oh yeah, that's right. He does actually end up freeing one of his coworkers from the mind control, and he says he's in pain and asking, "Are you here to save us? Please stop her. It hurts so much."
He also frees Agnes for a little bit too, to just see like, what are you doing?
Next episode, I think, right?
Next episode. Oh, sorry, you were going in sequential order.
Yeah. So, so at the end of episode 5, he confronts Wanda. There's like a bit of a fight. They fly on set, and he's trying to get her to admit to this, and she's still saying, "I don't know how it's happening. I'm not doing this. How do you think I could possibly control everyone in town?" He says, "Why are there no children in the city?" And then the doorbell rings, and she opens the door, and it's
Pietro, otherwise known as Quicksilver.
Recast.
I know.
Does it look the same way as
Darcy
he did?
calls out he's been recast. It's actually Quicksilver from the Fox X-Men universe.
Right. Which is like, what? Right.
And this is what I was referring to last week when I was kind of like, they are straight up messing with us the way Alfred Hitchcock messed with audiences with Rear Window, where he was just kind of like, I'm aware of how you're watching this, so I am going to make you feel the discomfort by poking at that. It's fantastic.
And
or
then
she's
we're going to
just
ask.
a really big fan of Kick-Ass, and she picked out the wrong actor.
I know, that's exactly what, it's such a weird, and she calls it out in the next episode.
The second one.
I have
She
a
goes,
theory.
kick ass. And talking about that. I mean, the implications of having I always forget the actor's name, but not Andrew Johnson, come back as his role.
Is it Aaron Peters?
Aaron Peters, you might be right.
Evan Peters.
Evan Peters.
Yeah, thank you.
Evan Peters come back as his role as Quicksilver, not Pietro Maximoff, but Quicksilver from the Fox. It makes you question like what's going to happen next, and this is kind of a moment. It's a huge thing because like everybody that has been watching this entire merger thing happen between Disney buying out the Fox properties has been asking like, how are they going to cross the universes?
There's even a moment where they're like, there was even a moment of just like, oh, you don't go by anything other than Wanda Maximoff, like nothing like powerful, whatever. And she's like, no,
right.
That's
and she was, that's another thing. They were wearing their like
their original comic costumes.
Yeah.
I have a theory. Sorry, just real quick.
Go.
just theory is that Pietro doesn't look the same because his body isn't available, whereas she stole Vision's body and was able to recreate him.
Mm-hmm.
All the people that are in the world are based on actual corporeal people that she's contrling.
Right.
That's my theory.
That's fair. But that also makes me wonder, like, what are the kids, Billy and
Right.
Billy and
or for that matter,
Tommy.
we know that Monica Rambeau's bulletproof vest now looks like bell bottoms and a 70s blouse with high collar, but it's still a bulletproof vest, right? So she cannot alter fundamentally a thing, but she can
alter probability, which is her power, is altering probability.
She can arrange the way it looks, it seems. So it's still going to be Kevlar, but it's just in a different form.
Correct. Do you want to continue with your episode
quickly
6?
with episode 6? Episode 6 is in the 90s. It's kind of following Malcolm in the Middle. We even have, I also want to call out the music is all the opening title songs have been composed by the Lopez's from Frozen, and they have been having so much fun emulating.
It's fun.
All these
That's
different
great.
styles.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. So we open with Wiccan and Speed, or Billy and Tommy, narrating, much like Malcolm in the Middle, and that which brings to me, like, clearly they have autonomy in this world, but also, do they have control? Because Wiccan, of course, as we know, will have powers very similar to Wanda, and of course, Speed will have powers very much like Quicksilver. It's a Halloween episode. We get to see everyone's original comic book accurate costumes.
Hilarious.
Hysterical.
Hilarious.
Wanda
And they
comes
look
out-
so cheap too. It's like the flimsy, like Party City.
Like how they call Vision's costume
wrestler?
he's a luchador.
Even the stone
little
is
diamond?
So flappy.
the Mind Stone.
and then she she also calls herself dressed as a Sokovian fortune teller.
Right.
Sokovian fortune teller.
Yeah. Let's see here. What else? Vision lies so that he can go off and try to understand what's going on in the Hex. He encounters Agnes, and it seems like Agnes might not have all the autonomy that we've thought she had. I don't know. She could be faking too. All the rules are broken with this show, so who knows? We also get a kind of an interesting moment with Herb, where Herb is dressed as Frankenstein, and as Wanda is talking to him, trying to understand Quicksilver, because she's even noticing, why doesn't he look like he's supposed to look? And Herb asks her, do you want anything changed? Which I thought was kind of an interesting moment, right?
Meanwhile, there's a little fourth wall-y.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of fourth wall, because Quicksilver seems to be aware of everything, right?
Quicksilver actually makes her uncomfortable, it seems like, because he's always asking like the questions that are towing the edge and not quite supposed to be on the show. If you notice that, like, the audience members that are supposed to laugh during the sitcom are like never present when she's speaking to Pietro for some reason.
Right. Well, I mean, I think we're also in a single camera world now, right? So there is no laugh track anymore, too.
True. Yeah.
It's weird because, like, that's a part of, I think, the charm of this is, like, it keeps on switching conventions on you.
Yeah.
So, like, you don't know what if we're talking about it like it's an improv scene, you have a base reality that keeps on shifting. So it kind of keeps you on your toes. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty interesting. Tracy, I mean, what do you think about everything that's going on especially in terms of like the possibility of the X-Men like being integrated into this world?
Well, so in the comic books, Wanda Maximoff is one of the few characters who is the same no matter what multiverse she's in. So if anybody's going to bring in characters from other universes, it's her. So I have a theory about that with Quicksilver and Pietro and bringing him in from the X-Men universe versus the Age of Ultron universe. And I actually kind of agree with you, Jennifer, about like how there's not a body anymore. Mm-hmm. Although, I mean, if she can bring somebody back for. Well, no, because she didn't bring the dog back from the dead. So
yeah, that was an interesting, important thing.
Yeah.
Where the kids say, "You can do anything. You can bring the dog back to life,"
right.
and she's like, "No, I can't. You can't bring people back to life."
Right, and we know she has a certain amount of control over the Infinity Stones, right? So to kind of bring one back to
go ahead
to bring the Mind Stone in some capacity back to Vision, at least within this bubble that she's created, I'm sure that they've got a reason for that, right? Do you think?
Well, so I don't think she has control over the Infinity Stones. I don't think anyone can have control over the Infinity Stones.
Her power is derived from it.
Her powers are derived from the same cosmic forces so it's like she's tapping into the power cosmic of reality, but it's not necessarily stone power specifically.
Yeah, she doesn't lose her powers as a result of the stones being destroyed at this point.
Right.
But
because they were never derived from the stone.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll have to look that, because she's got several origin stories. Like pretty much every time a new writer took over, they gave her a new origin story and new parents and all of that.
Right. I mean, her powers have stayed like relatively like stable-ish. They've grown in time.
They've grown. I mean, like it started off with she just had good luck, right? It's like that was the whole thing
she
where
could just
she had no control over it.
She was like a long shot, but like way cooler.
Okay, so we should talk about Monica Darcy and Jimmy Woo, right? Because they have an arc right now where they are now in complete opposition with director
Hayward,
who
is an asshole deliberately. Like, how did this guy even get his job?
It's so weird because
everybody else disappeared.
It felt like. It felt like such a I don't know. I felt such whiplash because he was like dumb. I knew he was kind of a dick, but then he went just 100%
growing.
Like that last episode. I was like, wow, wait, where'd that come from?
He's so stupidly antagonistic for everything.
Well, and he's got to be like anti-X-Men because they changed the acronym for SWORD to weapons from world. So he there's something about him with powers, and that he's like
he's got something about it. Maybe like what happened in the 5 years before, like after the blink.
Oh, so that's the thing I also really love, right? This idea of how he rails into Monica. It's like, oh, it's so easy for you who have now come back. You don't have to survive those last 5 years. We had to, so you have like this whole trauma of the 5 years of the blip where everyone who was around basically is making fear-based decisions out of paranoia, which is an interesting thing. So can I give my crazy theory?
Sure.
Go ahead. I have a crazy question after your crazy theory.
So this is
the crazy direction afterwards.
This is the thing that I wonder if Hayward is heading up the Sentinel program.
Oh,
think about this, right?
There,
because the Sentinels were created by.
I know, but wait.
Trask.
So here's the thing.
Yes.
If we're now, it always bugged me that you could have in the Marvel Comics world where like people are like, yay, we love Fantastic Four, we love Captain America, and then you have in the X-Men comics, it's like, oh, everybody hates mutants. How do normal people actually know the difference, right? So this is an interesting way to kind of, as you usher in an era of mutants, to get us to anti-mutant paranoia, where in the trauma of the blip, everyone just is untrusting of any powered beings at all, right?
Right.
And so if he is using synthesoid technology because he is reverse engineering from Vision to use that as a template for making Sentinels, Trask could still be out there as a scientist. You just haven't seen him yet. Like that could be the mind-blowing character reveal at the end of this, that he's working with Trask, right? But
I actually just ran into an article that postulates that Hayward is the MCU's version of Trask. So, that's I mean, it's a possibility. Who knows?
Well,
Peter Dinklage shows up in episode 9.
I know. We're gonna all right. So I'm willing to say that like the Evan Peters like cameo is a fluke. I'm willing to say it's a fluke. If we get another one, I'm like, oh, we're going multiverse. I'm like full on.
I think we're gonna have to move into multiverse. But my big question was, I've been asking myself this question. I'm not like heavily in on the MCU theory, so this is me asking as like a viewer without some of the ties in between. So
Got it.
I've been asking myself, why sitcoms? Why TV? Right? So like if like Wanda, and I have many different thoughts part of this big question, so hang with me here. But so Wanda has the power. Of course, she says that there is a certain lack of control, right? So we have yet to see the show explain why it is that she's manifesting in this specific way, especially given that her history and where she comes from does not have these like, you know, American style sitcoms and American style TV shows in this way. So there must be some kind of outside influence. Because I feel as though if she truly, like, of her own volition, if she were like mindful of what she was doing, then like a very possible thing would be that she would take Vision's body and then go incognito, and then she and him would just assume different identities, but in an actual lived space. The only reason why this is being, you know, targeted as like something that the FBI or that the government would want to look into is because there are other people being held hostage. But I feel like the people being held hostage is for the benefit of the concept of the show at large. So I'm having a little trouble reconciling, like, is this just something that we're using to like get people in on the sitcom feel, or is there going to be an earned reason for why Wanda's using this mechanism?
So I have a feeling it's too big of a concept point to just hand wave it. So I agree. I feel like there's going to be a reason. It. Yeah, there's got to be, and when it hits, it's going to hit us like a single X-wing.
I hope so.
You know, here's my feeling about this, and this is part of my whole.
Tracy has thoughts. I can see it.
Okay, I'm wondering if Andy and I have the same thoughts.
You go first. You go first, Tracy.
Oh, so the theory that I have been kind of hearing and absorbing and feeling like it's probably that type of thing is that when she was growing up in Sokovia with all this trauma and everything, that the only thing that she really had to hold on to and the way that she thinks
was American TV.
Was American TV and American sitcom.
That was the headcanon.
I knew you
that
and
I
I were on the
myself.
same page, Andy. Yeah, and that, you know, that's
the exact same headcanon.
Yeah, the perfect family. She wants to have a family. She wants to be with Vision. So, you know, she's going to harken back on these sitcoms that she watched that were her escape in Sokovia.
Because America is so idealized in all the rest of the world, and she's in a war-torn, you know, and so here's the other kind of, I think it's just mind-blowingly brilliant thing about this, right, is that this is part of they are aware of how we are engaging with media right now. What has everyone been doing for the last year in all of the trauma of the world around us? We've been going back and escaping into TV and to classic TV. Like all of these classic things that are now available on all of our streaming sites are all classic TV shows because there's comfort there. We're going back and watching, I went through, I'm back rewatching Doctor Who right now. And for the first couple of months, I was rewatching Star Trek. Just like for like the optimism, old Star Trek, like not Discovery and stuff. I was going back to like everything.
TOS.
That's what this is that, you know, it's so self-aware of how we are engaging with media and commenting on how she is working through trauma by kind of shutting out her.
Because she definitely is. I mean, that's what the entire Hex is her processing trauma. That's the crux of the show, and I want to see like where they go with it, because I mean, this has been brought up a little bit in the chat, is that this is going to lead into Multiverse of Madness, which is the second Doctor Strange book. The second Doctor Strange movie. So we are going into multiverses. There's going to be like 616 and like a different universes. So I'm just super interested how they're going to get there.
I agree. And I think, I mean, thank you for filling in that blank. I don't know much about her history. So as somebody who doesn't know where she comes from, it seems random as fuck. But like, I'm glad that, I hope that the series itself like explains it in some way so that we have an idea of like where she came from, I do know, like, just from reading up on like her different comic threads, every single iteration of Scarlet Witch seems to end in disaster or end in madness in some way, which is very unfortunate. I wonder if it's going to happen here.
It just seems to happen when you get to like that power level, because like that happens with Dark Phoenix, that happens.
Right, she's very much like Jean Grey.
It happens with Bobby Drake to a certain degree. It happens with Magneto. Like anybody where you get to like power
Higher
cosmic
echelon.
levels of like things just go all right because things can change at the drop of whims.
Right, right. How do you like reconcile the fact that you have almost unlimited power and yet you cannot save the people you love, or you cannot change the fabric of reality to your own way?
At least not you don't have the degree of control that you think you do.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
And all she wants is a normal life, right?
I'm not sure that they're to your point, Jen, I'm not sure if they're going to like actually I think they're going to if they do explain the TV as a coping mechanism for her past life. It's going to be through flashbacks from like Ultron, Age of Ultron, and like because they covered that in Age of Ultron.
Oh,
we could see some flashbacks to her childhood with Pietro. I mean, we kind of get to see the little the throwaway gag where it's trick or treating in Sokovia, and like the woman hands her a fish as there's active war happening behind them, which I thought was hysterical use of that style of gag. Can I? Yeah, actually, and I've been wanting to get to this. So, Mr. Benjamin Johnson, who helped us start the Pod Squadron, has this great theory that I'm just totally going like, speculation crazy over. So he's particularly focused on the commercials, because the commercials seem to be like this.
They're not random. They're not
or subconscious, right? So everything, all of them kind of are referring to story points from past points in the Marvel universe, but they also seem to have a theme that connects to the Infinity Stones, right? So we see the toaster. The toaster is produced by Stark Technology. It looks like Vision's head and has a dot in where the forehead would be. So it kind of corresponds with the Mind Stone, perhaps.
Our first glimpse of color, too.
Right. Then we have a watch that's kind of a Rolex watch, black and white commercial. Obviously, the Time Stone. Then we have the
Strucker too, who was the one who experimented on them, right?
Then we have the throwback to the Calgon commercial, which is the soap, and it comes in a box that is a cube with blue lines, like a tesseract, a space stone. Then we have the paper towels that wipe up this red liquid that is out of control, the ether, which is the reality stone. So I've been trying to figure out what the last
one is, because we need a time stone.
Yeah, well, yeah. So this is mind-boggling, and I've been like,
is it not the Soul Stone?
Well, it's either soul or power, right?
So I feel like it's soul. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I feel like it might be the Soul Stone because the kid disintegrates before your very eyes and he trades his life for the yogurt.
He kind of looks like Red Skull, right?
He never really
that's a good idea too.
Because his face like just turns. It was really creepy, and it actually did harken back to my own childhood. I'm not old enough to like know about pre-80s and that kind of stuff, but that commercial, I was like, I recognize that, even down to the claymation. Yeah.
So here's one of my crackpot theories, right? So if it's the Power Stone, right? I tried to just like, okay, what is my scenario if it's the Soul Stone? I came to the same conclusion as Jen. I'm like, what if it's the Power Stone? What would it refer to? Well, the name of the yogurt is Yo Magic. What if it's that short for Your Magic? It's actually Wanda's magic, and it's referring to Wanda being stranded on this island or her hex, right? She says she's not really in control of her powers. She doesn't know how all of this happened. What if there's a Mephisto or some other
the Mephisto theory.
character. It doesn't have to be Mephisto, right? I mean, even Wiccan even calls out how Pietro. What is the line? One of the kids says to the other kid, "You secretly think he's a vampire."
Oh, Mobius, or
so he could be Mobius. He could be right. So and if he's leeching on Wanda's powers,
right,
and making her exert
that'd
the
be
power
crazy
more and more,
if we get
right?
Mobius.
So what we see is the shark, right? The shark says, what does the shark say? The shark's line is, hungry?
What
I remember
does a
hungry.
shark say?
So he says, I remember hungry. I used to be like that all the time. So the boy says, what did you do? I snacked on yo magic, bro. Now I have time to hang Finn. And that's when he hands him the cup that he can't open. And he's right. So
It's just tragic watching that.
Yes, it's like so disturbing.
This is a fucking disturbing ass commercial. The thing is, though, Andy, I will interject. I feel like that's a very, very astute and very deep interpretation of the commercial. I mean, like, I'm sure that there are, like, you know, tropes that you can read into it. However, I think, like, you know, when you hear hooves, think horses, not zebras. I'm still going to think it's the Soul Stone, but maybe the one after this in the next episode will further illuminate for us which one it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Tracy.
Can I tell you my theory about the commercials?
Yeah, you can.
I think that it's Wanda and Pietro's parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's the same actors every
It's
time.
Magneto.
It is the same actors.
Well, it could be Magneto, but also they have different origin stories in different comics. Magneto's not always their parents.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, they also have adoptive parents sometimes too.
Well, they have Maximovs,
Yeah.
which are their adoptive parents, but they always have different. So, like in the comics, do they have? Are their birth parents their actual parents then, or are they always adopted?
Okay, well, in the comic books, there's
right.
one storyline where they're delivered by a cow. So let's not get
it's like it's that's the thing.
So
I mean,
Remus and Romulus, but in Sokovia.
that's the thing about the MCU, right? They're taking like what we a lot of times they take what we know in the comics and they'll just turn it on our heads. Like everything is a little different in the comics than it is in the MCU. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, completely different, you know?
In the comics, her twin kids are basically Horcruxes of Mephisto, right? And he like pops them out of his arms. So it's, you know, they're taking things from different things and mushing them all together.
Like Zeus giving birth to Athena through his brain.
Right, his brain.
I was going to say something about like, as we're getting to know more about this world, I really enjoyed watching Vision try to crawl to the edge of his own reality because his psyche is the same as what Vision would be, but his memories are not there. And of course, like his intellect would make it so that he would question the nature of his own reality. Westworld. But sorry, I was just going to wrap up the thought of as he traverses to the edges of reality, it reminds me of what happens during lucid dreaming, right? So like, or like even in A Wrinkle in Time when they visit Camazotz, or like any kind of Twilight Zone feel, right? So like even in a video game, within the video game, there is like a main road to traverse and like everything is in crystal clarity and things seem to uphold the reality that they do. But if you go off to some random road somewhere, if you look underneath a bush, you start seeing the pixels, right? So like, I found it really interesting that like Vision traveling to the edges of the town find people that have barely any like objective to accomplish. Like they're trying to hang laundry on a line, but they can't even finish a task, you know? Yeah. In the same way that, you know,
eerie.
In Camazotz, in A Wrinkle in Time, in Camazotz, like people are making repetitive actions because they are being controlled by a single hive mind. They don't have any free will in and of themselves, right? And in the same way, lucid dreaming, there's always some seam to the reality. So it was nice to see the seams.
They're NPCs without enough processor power.
Right, yeah. They're the NPCs.
Why am I in this corner?
Why
am I in this corner?
In the background of like a Street Fighter fight, the guys that just like have a loop and there's like.
There's also that thing where like if you can read the writing, then you're not in a lucid dream or something.
Oh right, yeah.
Oh, right,
or it's not reality or something.
You're dreaming if you can't read, because you're not supposed to be able to read in your dream.
Right.
It's your language. Your language skills are on one side of your brain. Your creative skills that control dreaming are in the other hemisphere.
In the same way
right.
that, like, even though Pietro has a different face, she knows that it's him. Because sometimes in dreams too, like, you'll see somebody in your dream who looks completely different from the person you know it to be, in real life.
I also say to Jen, what you're talking about too, in terms of this, also feeds into possibly being the Soul Stone. If it's watching the little boy wither away is paralleling watching Vision wither away, as just before Wanda expands the hex open. And then of course the sword encampment becomes a freaking circus, which is awesome. That's so great.
I still think though that I think Wanda she's got to be in some control of it. Like, I don't think this is like...
She does have some.
Yeah, she has a degree of control. Very early on, I was thinking like maybe this is some kind of fugue state for her, but like it keeps on changing. It evolves like as every episode comes out, and I don't know. I just think we're seeing this much of the picture right now, and like because we know it's going to lead into Multiverse of Madness, and the hex is expanding. The wide-reaching ramifications of what seems to be a very small show right now they're going to be pretty amazing. I'm looking forward to it.
Here's the other thing too, right? Is that yes, Multiverse of Madness, but there's also the Loki series, which is clearly going to be very multiverse heavy. We're also got the Spider-Man film, which is said to be a live-action Spider-Verse. So there is groundwork to be made for this whole Phase 4 of being.
They're laying a lot of groundwork right now. Yeah, they're laying a lot.
Monica Rambeau in the comics has powers too. So by going in back and forth,
they've established that. Yeah.
Things could happen. It's exciting. It's super exciting.
Also, I want to know which one of you massaged Paul Bettany's butt.
What?
It says Geekish
I wish
Network.
I did.
I massaged Paul Bettany's butt once. True story. Which one of you massaged his butt, and why wasn't I there?
Oh, Rodney did. What?
We'll get that story.
Okay.
I need answers.
How?
He says he'll tell the story next week.
Next week on Pan Geekery.
Okay, one other thing. I really want Darcy to show up next week as a broke waitress.
Oh, okay, that would be hilarious.
Just one broke girl. Yes. In the MCU.
But yeah, definitely we're going to keep on covering this as the story develops. And let's move into our next little bit here, because we are, So a few things are happening in the geek universe that have come out this past week. They've released first the GOT prequel casting has become a thing. So this project is on its way. It's happening. It seems. Unlike the other, the other.
I'm prepared to move forward with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I am not a cat.
I am not a cat.
I don't know a lot of these the actors that they've announced. Reese Ifans, Steve Toussaint, Eve Best, Sonoya Mizuno. I remember Sonoya from what is that? Devs, yes.
But also from Ex Machina. She was one of the androids from Ex Machina. But I just don't know. I don't know about her, dude.
We've talked about this in Devs. I don't know. We none of us have finished it. I think Rodney has finished it.
Rodney has finished it. But even Rodney has said that he felt that she was perhaps the weakest part of Devs.
Rodney says, "Doctor Who, dude."
Who?
Rodney says, "Doctor Who, dude."
Doctor Who, dude.
Which person? Oh. Okay, interesting.
Oh, the Doctor Who dude is in it.
Well, we don't
Which
know.
One?
We don't know what characters they're specifically playing. They're just attaching names to it as of right now, right?
Yeah, we don't know who they are.
Yeah, we don't know if this is just the Targaryen family, if this is...
Because this is House of Dragons, right?
It is House of Dragons. We don't know if all of the people cast are going to be dragons.
Right. Well, yeah, we're Targaryens. It's definitely going to be like
Smith.
Valyria.
Matt Smith is in this.
Matt Smith is in it. Oh my god.
He's not in the headline.
Oh.
It doesn't matter.
Not in the headline.
Yeah.
I think Matt Smith is going to be what's his name? Big Brother Targaryen. What's his name?
I thought this was like 1,000 years before.
Yeah, I think
Thousands.
it's much older. It's like old Valyria, I think.
I think it's when the 3 siblings come and take over.
King takes over Westeros. Oh, so Aegon.
Is that,
Aegon
am I
the
right? Am I
Conqueror?
wrong?
I'm not 100% sure. I haven't been reading up on it. I've been kind of like like GOT, like I don't want to see it.
You're still bitter. You're just like, I can't go back.
I'm not even
Also-
lying. I'm bitter about it.
I'm bitter about it, but I'm also not quite optimistic about it because
I
I
am
feel
not either.
I smell another Hobbit coming on. You know, I smell it.
You know what? I don't know, but because Hobbit was like a confluence of many different things.
Sure. But there isn't a lot of source material to go on for
Right.
this, you know, so it's entirely dependent on the writers.
Hobbit should have been 1 movie. Lord of the Rings should have been 6.
Yes.
No, I
agree
mean,
with you.
absolutely.
Oh my god,
saying.
The Hobbit. It's on HBO Max right now, and it always gets like recommended to me because I watch Lord of the Rings a lot, and
Not the
I always
same.
look at it and I'm
Not
like,
the
I'm not
same.
watching that. I am not watching that. Get out of here. Burns.
Boo. But yeah, I'm heavily concerned, and I mean, I'll resign my judgment until I actually see the product, but I really do not have high hopes.
Is it the same guy
Matt
doing it?
Smith. No. Oh, well, Miguel Sapochnik is one of the showrunners. So the director of,
But not David Benioff and
no,
D.B.
not
Weiss.
yeah. But one
good.
of the writers. yeah.
It's already better.
It is. It's centuries
Matt-
before the Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So I think Matt Smith is
who's gonna-
playing Prince Daemon Targaryen. So he's so the king.
Daemon Targaryen.
He's the son of Viserys Targaryen. And then,
This is probably in the era of Aegon the Conqueror.
so I think it is like 300 years before Game of Thrones. I think. But yeah, there it goes. Based on Martin's Fire and Blood, the series, which is set 300 years before the events of Game of Thrones, tells the story of House Targaryen.
Interesting.
Yeah, so this is quite a bit before the war.
Again, my love has evaporated. I still very much love like old Game of Thrones, but I feel like integrity has vanished, and unless they can prove to us that like world building is happening from the bolts and nuts, like I'm gonna have a hard time. But
It's
we'll
gonna
see.
be tough. Like, where's this? You're like, yeah, you're right. Where is this coming from?
Where's this coming from? Who's writing?
I'm
So
willing
wait,
to
you
give
like it up
benefit
to
of
the
doubt.
point where
Yeah.
where they stopped having source material? Is that?
Well, yeah, that's a lot of like it's a market difference, right?
It
Yeah.
did.
So.
There was a huge difference in drop in quality from the writing, you know.
I mean, well, and here's the thing, though. I mean, Benioff and Weiss are off with Ryan Johnson working on the 3 Body Problem.
Oh, that's
Right,
a
that's
trio
another
of
one.
doom.
Yeah.
I still like Ryan Johnson.
When that got announced, I was like, oh god.
Do you though?
The Star
do,
Wars
actually.
rejects
They're
got
gonna-
together.
Remember, I am
take on
still A Last
sci-fi.
Jedi is the best film of that trilogy. So you know,
Which
I
is
feel
another
like they should
conversation.
Just
This is a whole other
different
conversation.
conversation.
yes.
So we should move on.
On that
We'll
note,
talk on Saturday. We'll talk.
I know
We'll talk for another hour.
Last of Us casting was announced, and they, speaking of Game of Thrones, they've announced.
What just
God,
Brooke
happened?
Jen.
Mega Daddy Pedro Pascal
and
Jen
Bella
is
Ramsey,
broken.
right?
I
as-
don't.
and Bella
Casting of
Ramsey.
what? Casting of
for
what?
Last of Us.
The Last of Us live action. So
They're
The
going
Last
to be
of Us
playing
is
Joel, right?
All I heard was scream.
that's me. I mean, sorry. I'm
Pedro
a huge
Pascal
fan.
and Bella Ramsey are going to be playing Joel and Ellie, respectively. So that was announced a couple days ago, and the internet has blown up because it as it is wont to do.
Perfect.
Right?
Perfect
I'm
casting. I
Yeah.
really want Regina King as Marlene. That would be amazing.
So, yeah,
Has anyone here played Last of Us?
I'm unknowledgeable
not.
because like I haven't.
Oh
I don't
my
have. I'm not a
goodness.
console gamer, so.
Yeah.
It was written by the Expanse writers.
So
the Expanse writers were his assistants when he was
Right.
writing Game of Thrones. And so the theory is that they kind of took, I guess he was kind of getting writer's block and falling off. They kind of took over the bulk of the writing and he would guide them. And so that's what he's talking about.
Oh,
The
that's what,
Expanse
I
is
am-
so good. I
Ian
just
was
got
talking
into it.
I still have to start.
And so,
When
Corey,
they
I won't
left
read
is when
books.
he stopped
Same.
writing. So
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I see. That's what the theory is.
The
Interessante.
assistants, actually, if you watch The Expanse, it's very much like all the good of Game of Thrones without the bad.
I've been like, my elevator pitch for Expanse has been like, just think it's Game of Thrones in space.
In space. Yeah.
See, that doesn't help me.
It doesn't help you.
you just have to get past the first 2 episodes.
Yeah,
Amy.
that's
Come on.
really what it is.
It's a little bit of a slog in the very beginning, but like once it
It's
gets
a lot of a slog in the beginning.
once it gets its feet, it's very strong.
I
you
trust
seen
you
the
guys.
beginning
I
already?
trust you guys. Yeah, I pushed myself to the.
Careful.
There's
Careful,
weightless
Andy.
sex. Come on.
I'm a
Awesome.
huge. Everybody, all these guys know, but I'm a huge Expanse fan.
Oh, I trust every so many people. So many
read-
people have told
read the
me
books.
I'm gonna love this. But yeah, it's been so hard.
It's on par, if not better than BSG.
Fair enough.
It's actually better than Battlestar. I will straight up say it's
I've
better
totally
than
heard that
Battlestar.
from many other people, but
Yeah.
Andy, you weren't with us when Nathan and James and Ian and I all waited in line for the Expanse experience at San Diego Comic-Con.
wait,
Oh, did they have one at
hours.
Con? What
Nathan, I thought still hasn't
was the
started
year was that?
yet either.
I
What
waited-
was sorry, which question? Wait, what?
Sorry,
What year was that, and what was it like?
That was the last one before COVID.
yeah.
The one that Andy didn't go to
Oh,
because his
2019.
pass. Yeah.
That was me and Caitlin's
Andy's
first
cast-
year. We went, yeah. Yeah.
That was my
So sorry we didn't get to see
13th
it.
year. Or whatever it was. Like I stopped counting. Who knows?
Nice.
It was actually one of the outdoor ones, so you didn't have to have a badge to go to
I
it.
keep on telling people this. Like the outside activations are like you can have
Pretty great.
fun just doing those. You don't even have
Yeah.
to have a badge anymore. I mean, depending, we're talking in hypotheticals now because we don't know like what SDCC is going to be like if it returns in the same form.
see.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be 2022. It's not going to come back this summer.
Oh, yeah,
Hamster
definitely
bubbles.
Although
Hamster
I do
bubbles for
wonder
everyone.
if Comic Con Museum will be able to do some events, smaller events, like
Maybe.
Not. Right.
They're still pretty bare bones. I don't know when was the last time I was there for Picard. That was the last time I was there.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was still, and you can still see the football field thing. On the
really?
floor, stuff like that. Yeah.
Nice.
Slow progress.
That brings us to the end of our episode. A lot of good stuff tonight. Definitely looking forward to some more WandaVision this coming week on Thursday. So maybe we can do a watch party. Who knows? Thank you, everybody, for hanging out in the chat. I see Charles Babb is in there, Ian, My Ellipses, Scuba Steve, Fred Fraser. Thank you all for hanging out. Aaron Nabis, Angfernal. Thank you all. Once again, we are going to be here every that's my other show. We're going to be here every Monday at 8 p.m. here on the Geekish Network. Do follow us on all the socials. Thank you for leaving questions and stuff in the chat. We do here have a lot of other shows to check out on the Geekish Network, including Pots and Pan Geekery, which is not going to be tomorrow. It's going to be next week. And Trek Table, I'm not sure what's going on there, but Pod Squadron, Geek Beast, what else? Nerdtastic.
We can.
Right. I see.
Excellent.
Got it.
And I will just call out that so Pod Squadron, of course, is on Saturday nights at 8:00, where you'll see myself and Tracy, as well as our friend Lexi. And this week we will be talking about the first novel of the High Republic campaign.
Very
from
cool.
the Star Wars. So if you haven't read it yet, this is your chance to read the first 18 chapters along with us, and we'll be talking about
Nice.
part one of the book. A lot of cool stuff in this book.
And
I'm really
binge-worthy.
enjoying it.
And binge-worthy. Thank you. We miss Bingeworthy. And Bingeworthy.
Right before the show.
So check out,
Mondays.
we have a whole host of things to check out, including all the things that we've plugged here today. I just want to give thanks to the cast, the crew. Rodney, what's up? Thank you to our special guest host, Tracy, Hot Nerd Girl. Thank you so much for joining us here. And you can reach us all at Geekish Network or the Geekish Network on all the different platforms. I am at Early Be Good everywhere. Jen Zaney.
I am Jennifer Zhang at all my actor stuff, and you can find me on Twitch as Jen Zaney, Jenzany.
And I am the Chinese Pirate on Facebook and Chinese Pirate _ on all other platforms.
And I'm Hot Nerd Girl. Ooh, I just knocked my microphone. I'm really excited
Pop
there.
filter.
Quick, say it before we raid.
Table flip. I am Hot Nerd Girl on Facebook and Hot Nerd Girl Official on Instagram and Hot_Nerd_Girl on Twitter. At some point, I will make those all the same. I don't know when.
I just did that this year.
Underscore.
I had to sacrifice other handles that I liked, and but yeah. But anyway,
I own
thank
the
you,
trademark.
I know, I own it. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We'll see you next week, same bat time, same bat channel here on the Geekish Network. We're gonna go raid Angfernal. Let's see what's up. Thank you everybody. Have a good night.
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. Ibambe.
Ibombe!